Exciting news now for the breeding front and actually the racing industry. Mr. Matt Isaacs joins me from HRV headquarters. Matt, thank you very much for joining me on a very exciting day for the industry.
Thanks for being here, Paul.
Great news. This is the government getting on board, supporting the industry. That in itself is a tick, but we've got some amazing news, if you like, for the racing and breeding participants of the industry here in Victoria.
Yeah, we have, Paul, and hi everybody at home. We've been working on this for 6 months in various different guises in conjunction with the Victorian government. We've been able to successfully access the Victorian Racing Industry Fund to support our breeding industry. We have an announcement today of a $2.75 million investment over the next 2 years that will be in the form of 2 different segments. There'll be a $5,000 bonus to roughly 200 races each year attached to both our maidens and some open age races as well, Paul. That will receive, the winning owner will receive a $5,000 voucher for reinvestment into a service or a breeding service, or additionally into the nutrient or APG sales. So that's a significant investment supported and underpinned by the Victorian government. So it's money outside of HRV money that we've successfully put in place, secured and to be able to put in place. And the second part to this is through the Vicbred Super Series, the winning owner across the heats and finals will receive a $5,000 voucher as well, along with the winning breeder.
Yep.
And in that particular case, if the winning owner is the winning breeder, they'll receive $10,000 voucher.
Yeah, in fact, they will receive 2.
That's right.
That's the one. It's not going to be, if you are the same person, you're only going to get the 1 voucher.
That's right.
You'll get the 2. We'll just go back. So predominantly a lot of maiden races, or it's going to be a 50-50 split between the maiden races. And that's very important. It accentuates the first win bonus, if you like.
Yeah, that's right. So we're very conscious. 12 months ago, we had to scale back the investment HRV was making into the first win bonus to help address the operational challenges that we have. And since that moment, we've started to engage government around how we can better utilise the Victorian Racing Industry Fund to help support breeding, but ensuring that that investment's not just a cash investment to be spending things outside of the industry. It's to come back and help continue to rejuvenate the Victorian harness racing industry. So it's an initiative, as I said, that we've worked on for some time with the support of government. It's a little bit different in the way government have assessed things in the past, and we're really thankful for the support that they're providing here as well. So the team have worked on this to ensure that we have, roughly an 80% bias to the maidens, and then around 20% of those races will go to open age. And we can course correct that at any stage through the year, but it is predominantly a maiden bias, Paul.
Won't be every maiden race. We've got to be conscious of that, but they will be well and truly marked and ahead of time so people can plan for them. That's
right. So the idea is that we want to be able to encourage reinvestment of money back into the Victorian the harness racing industry. We want to ensure that we are helping support owners and encouraging owners to, one, stay in the industry, but also attract new ownership into the industry, which is a very important initiative for Harness Racing Victoria. And we want to be able to do this not over 1 year, but over a 2-year cycle, and then review that in conjunction with government in 24 months' time.
And that's very important. It is a 2-year. But that doesn't mean it stops in 2 years. It just means it is now there's a 2-year commitment, which you guys will hopefully extend. Who knows? Could even get higher. You don't know. But that's pie in the sky stuff.
Yeah, I think let's focus on for the next 2 years to be able to support breeding, support ownership, and obviously help take some of the financial challenges away of owning and breeding. There's a lot of things happening in the broader economy. There's obviously changes that we've made to prize money, so returns aren't quite as strong as they once were. And this is some step forward to help support that. We're very empathetic to the challenges that are out there. And, this is a small step towards helping support that. We think this is, certainly helps for that reinvestment. we will continue to find ways that we can help support the broader industry around supporting itself. We're very conscious around the foal numbers on the ground, what it means for the future, what it means for starter numbers, and we see this as a very important initiative to help have that intervention, a positive intervention, to help support the Victorian harness racing industry, not just now, but over the next number of years. And you're right, it's a 24-month initiative, and we'll review this in conjunction with government. And if the redemption from the industry is high and it's valued, then I think it's a very good case for that support with government to continue.
Continue on. It is Victoria. And we might need to make sure we're aware of this. I have a lot of people follow for a lot of. Your man needs to be inseminated in Victoria if you're going to and reside in Victoria. It is Victorian centric, and that's what we want people to be aware of. And when you go to the sales, it is also Victoria. So Australian Pacing Gold, Nutrien Standardbred, Victorian sales. The two sales here in Melbourne are where those can be redeemed, which is great for the Victorian economy. I know, like I do a lot of work with Mark Barton at Nutrien. He employs staff. He gets local staff to come and help him at the Melbourne sale. There's such a big flow-on effect that this is going to have, not just to the initial person that wins the bonus. It is going to help the studs, employing young staff, the veterinary clinics. There is a massive flow-on effect from this as well. It's very smart. Yeah, well, the Victorian harness racing industry is over $600 million a year in terms of economic benefit to the Victorian economy. So we've got an important role to continue to play and be able to sustain ourselves. So you're right. There's everybody from the vet to the stable hand to some of the people that work here that are all part of the industry. So we all have our role to play. But what is important is the lifeblood of the industry is really ownership. That creates the demand for breeding. We want to continue to make that investment. So it's only a small step. It's a big announcement. It's a sizable number, but it's a small step a small initiative we can put in place to help support individual owners that can then reinvest through breeding initiatives and reinvest through purchasing at the APG and Nutrien sales. So you're exactly right. It helps filter through, and it hopefully helps replace some of the lost first win bonus that we took away last year in some announcements we made last year. It's from the breeding point of view, it's your first major announcement, which you must be excited about. But so with so many of the hard-working people behind the scenes that I've been fortunate enough just to talk about, there must be such a positive vibe for the whole area. Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of challenges. When you've got hay costs going up because of the drought, you've got cost of ownership going up. In terms of the prize money returns, etc., it changes people's business models, Paul. So we're really aware of the decisions that we make, but we have to course correct. And this is a really positive announcement that we've been wanting to get out for a few weeks, and it's been held up. For a few reasons. This is a great announcement. It's a great initiative, and hopefully it is well received. I think it'll be the shot in the arm that the Victorian racing industry needs. So the Victorian harness racing industry needs, and I'm very proud of it. And I'm proud of it, from the work the team's done and the collaboration with the Victorian government, the Office of Racing as well. So, and we've consulted with Harness Breeders Victoria, APG, Nutrien through this process, and they're really excited about it as well, which is evident in the quotes they've provided. And it's the shot in the arm that we need. And when it's you're very conscious when you're course correcting that it's quite negative, and this is a really positive announcement, and this has been something we've been really excited to get out, Paul. So you're exactly right. We are really excited about it. Hopefully, as I said, the industry will be excited about it, and we'll start to see the belief back into harness racing here in Victoria, because we've got a hell of a lot of good things happening. Yeah. And we really see some great opportunity ahead. Now, my view probably is a little bit more longer term than maybe some people that are dealing with it day to day out there. But I assure everybody out there that we appreciate the challenges, and this is just one initiative that we can put in place to help support harness racing here in Victoria. I hate it when people say skin in the game. I do have skin in the game. We've got a horse racing Thursday night called Mac Flick. She's won 3 or 4. So these are going to be on maiden races. So you can say that it's not going to, hopefully she wins, but that's okay. It's not going to help her. So I could turn around and say, why is this not going back into prize money? There's nothing to say that there might not be a race for her down the track with some of those open age races and things along those lines. But the flip side of it is we also have a maiden coming through that may make it. She trialled last night. There'll be plenty of people in this same boat, similar boat to me. They're going to say, oh, I've got a 2-win horse or a 3-win horse. How am I going to get these? Well, but you don't know what you've got next year coming through and that. Easy to say put it back into stake money, but it wouldn't even touch the sides as far as stake money. And the government, I would imagine, would have said, no, we've put enough into stake money. We want to see a direct benefit going back into the economic part.
Yeah, well, we were pretty clear about that ourselves, to be fair. So we wanted to have a voucher system. We wanted reinvestment back into the industry. The Victorian government weren't supportive of stake money. I think we've been down that road where we've made commitments into stake money and other initiatives that haven't been time boxed, and it becomes baselined in the expectations. And I want to be really clear: this commitment's $2.75 million for the next 24 months, and we'll review it. It's not an ongoing initiative. So
and you're very conscious of that.
Yes, I am very conscious of that because that's something that when I started, there was a lot of initiatives in place that started to become one-year initiatives, weren't communicated necessarily that way, and then were baselined in the operational costs and just become things that we had to find ways to fund. So this is a specific funding arrangement that we have with the Victorian Racing Industry Fund. We're utilising our allocation to redirect into this initiative, and it's not specifically cash, it's for reinvestment back into the industry.
Yep, and that's what we want, and that's what I say. That then gives the young girl helping the vet, might give a little contributor for her funding simply because of the whole flow on effect that $5,000 is effectively being paid for by the stallion fee. So it's $5,000 less that you have to pay your vet, so you can do it that way. So then continue to grow it and professionalise our sport and get our sport to grow in the right manner that we want. The other side of it is you might be looking at a stallion that's $3,000. You win a $5,000 you might go to an $8,000 service fee then because you still keep your $3,000 and go into it. So we're potentially breeding better stock. Not that the $3,000 service fee might not be as good as the $8,000. That doesn't matter, but it is a flow-on effect that should only professionalise our sport and get it in the right direction.
Yeah, it's up to the individual owners out there to figure out how they want to best utilise that. I don't want to kind of be speaking on their behalf, but I think, as I said, it's an injection of $2.75 million over the next 2 years. So it can only be a positive. It can only benefit, and I think it's a step of helping recognise the challenges are out there. There's a number of different things that we're working on in the background as well that could be, that are quite complex to existing commitments that are being made to undo with various different bodies out there in collaboration with some of the other states. We're looking at different ways through that. Because I'm very conscious that whilst we are working towards getting HRV as a business right, and we are on track to deliver on that this financial year, that has an impact to the industry, and our attention's really now focused on how do we ensure we have a prosperous industry for not just next year, the year after, but the next 100 years after.
The full T's and C's are going to be in the comment section. You'll be able to click onto that. It'll take you to there. There is also microchipping has been announced today. We're not going to go into that too much, but the changes to the microchipping. These things have all been run through the A-track, which is another part that I think a lot of people may be not aware of, but talking to people of the industry that are passionate about the industry and ran past them and being signed off on by these guys. Yeah,
well, we have a combination of the executive, the board, and every 3 months we meet with the Harness Racing Advisory Committee. So there's certain initiatives we test our thinking with the representation of our industry body, our kindred bodies, at those meetings. That just brings completeness to our thinking, because I don't want to pretend that I understand all the challenges out there, and our role is to listen, but ultimately make the best decision on the information we have available, and we use the industry bodies through that mechanism to help support our decision making, and also bounce different ideas around, and that they also bring specific ideas or issues to our attention through that forum as well. So we actually have a meeting next Monday, and as I said, it's every 3 months. So yeah, it's really valuable to us. It's part of our engagement, we've sort of reconstituted that with some different people over the last 12 months, and bringing some different perspectives, which is really powerful.
The Summer Carnival was recently announced. It's been taken very, very positively. I do know there's going to be more announcements coming up. Stay tuned for that in the next month or so, because it's not the only part of it. But you must be excited, firstly, on how well it's been received, and already listening to people planning where these good horses are going to be racing for their pacing and trotting races. I won't say cups, because there's a couple of races outside the trots that are cups. But basically, Summer Carnival, this condensed 7-week period that's going to be wall-to-wall racing, which is really exciting.
It is. An ambition that I've always had is to try to reclaim the summer of glory that I remember fondly. We need to condense our racing into a smaller part of the calendar so we can own a period of time. I think summer is our time to do that. It's not necessarily the best wagering time of year, but it's a great time of year for us to get cut through and to be able to own a segment of the calendar. And we're not just talking about harness racing eyes. It's how to actually get eyes from the other two codes and other eyes outside of our industry onto our sport. Summer's a good time for us to do that. I think it's we're clearly the best version of ourselves racing at that particular time. We see this as stage one. There'll be a stage 2 that we'll consult back to industry on for the following year, being 2027. So there'll be further work to do on this. But I'm really proud with the work that, and the engagement that we've had both from Kilmore and Cranbourne to be able to make investments. Ultimately, what are investments that those two clubs have made out of their own funding availability, being two clubs that have funding support through poker machines and the businesses they have supporting that, being Kilmore and Cranbourne, that have made investments to raise their prize money to Group 1 level. Ballarat have always made a significant contribution as well, and will continue to do so. We see them as the 3 marquee races leading into the AG Hunter Cup. And then we also have, time-honoured Bendigo Pacing Cup and the Shepparton Gold Cup as well as lead-up events as well. So we think through the course of those 5 lead-up races, there's a real opportunity to build on something there that we're still working through, Paul, but we're conscious that this year mightn't be the exact year to announce that, but there's some stuff that we want to be able to do. But part of our thinking as well is how do we take that to the community through the right free-to-air TV offering, if we can do that, the right support from Sky Channel, the right support from our broadcast partners like RSN, SEN, etc. So, we'll continue to working on that. I haven't got an announcement around that at the moment. That's just work in progress. But we really want to amplify harness racing through that period and have more eyeballs on our sport, and ultimately more people enjoying harness racing, enjoying what our sport has to offer, driving visitation to the clubs, and ultimately and getting more people wagering on our product as well.
You mentioned there before Cranbourne and Kilmore. I think they're $150,000 to that commitment. It's outstanding. Ballarat are doing infrastructure changes for the horse people, but also people going there as well. So they've decided to go down that. But heated undercover washers, which I'm sure a lot of the participants race every other Thursday there at Ballarat, will be very happy with. All positive steps, though, going forward. Starts January 10 in Bendigo. We've got the Elderbaron Park Maori Mile. We finish off with the Aberdeen Farms Great Southern Star as well for the trotters. Going through the rise of the trotters, the internationalisation of the trotters as well is awesome, so we want to continue to do that. From a marketing point of view, Alfredo left the field one too, and he's got a smirk. He's like, Valentine's Day is Hunter Cup night as well, so goodness gracious, we could have some fun with that. You never know what we might be able to do. We could get Dan Malecki getting ready for his one-liners already for Valentine's night on that, but there is the opportunity for that.
I didn't even know the date. Okay. That's good. Yeah, we are kind of a week later than probably usual. So
because it's been pushed back. So,
that's right.
So from a marketing point of view, there is so many things that we can do, but the whole industry needs to buy in on it, and we need to celebrate the industry, but we all need to pull our socks up, and we all need to. And there'll be people say that, oh, you could have asked this question or you could have asked that question. At the end of the day, we're trying to be positive about this industry, and I think the news today is outstanding. For starters, I think it's such a positive because it stays in the industry.
Yeah, and I think everybody has their socks pulled up out there. I think everybody works really hard out there. They do a remarkable job, and there's doesn't matter if you're the smallest breeder, the smallest trainer, an up-and-coming driver, all the way through to the professional side of our sport. I think everybody does a remarkable job. It's a tough job. It's a job that has, driven by love. So I thank everybody for what they do. I don't think they need to pull their socks up anymore. I think ultimately what we need to do is give everybody the best opportunities to be able to win, to have a fair program. We need to continue to listen to people's concerns. Some of those things we can't address, but we acknowledge them. We'll continue to focus on what we can do and the things that we can control here at Harness Racing Victoria. We've continued to take our responsibilities on. We've made significant changes to the operations of Harness Racing Victoria over the last couple of years. Our head count is significantly smaller than the day I started, by the tune of about 50 people, which is very sad for those people, but we are a lot smaller organisation now. We're very focused on what we need to be delivering. That won't continue to change. We will continue to work on the things that will shape the future of our industry. And I just thank everybody for the patience. We are slowly turning it around. It does take time. We've made changes at all levels. And, there's some things that, don't need to be talked about that we've done here. But, last financial year, so they're not one we just closed out, but the year before, we had a $24 million loss that was on track to be a $34 million loss. We made some changes to save $10 million to deliver a $24 million loss. We budgeted a $12 million loss the financial year just concluded. We've delivered that, so we've gone out and said we're delivering what we said we're going to deliver, and we're planning this year to be at break even. So that is still another $12 million turnaround this year. So in kind of 24 months, that's $24 million of improvement on really a revenue line of around $75 million. So, a lot of it's through cost control, it's through containment, it's through renegotiating of contracts, it's through headcount, it's through prize money reductions, it's through a lot of things to be able to start to live within our means. And that's building trust. That's allowing us to rebuild trust with government, that we're doing what we say we're going to do, and and the support that they've just shown is a big part of that. I'm proud of that work, but the work hasn't been completed yet. So we still have another year ahead of us of really that cost containment. And then, what I remind the team here is that you only break even once. So you've got to be able to keep that focus, and ultimately start to return the business to the business side of it to profitability, so you can make reinvestments. So there's a number of different things we're looking at there in conjunction with the board support. So we'll continue to have that focus over the next 12 months, and we'll share when appropriate as well.
Yep, and that's what we want to do. Stallions have arrived in New Zealand. The international stallions breeding season's not far away. I think this is great news. We're starting off a new, not technically a new season, but in the old days, a lot of people in my generation, it's sort of spring is once
new breeding season.
Yeah, when everything starts again. Yep. So we want to make sure it goes. I think these start August.
September 1.
September 1 they start. So probably one very important part. So I think that's great. It is going to be in the breeding season, and timing is everything, but just positive news. Matt, thank you very much. Really do appreciate the time, and also the team behind the scenes as well, making sure that I'm versed up on what it all is. But please follow the links to the link. Keep an eye out there. But if you don't, follow Harness Racing Victoria and go to thetrots.com. Make sure you go across all of those to keep up to date with all these updates.
Thanks, Paul, and I just hope that this, as I said, this is a little step forward to helping support everybody out there. That we want to keep everybody involved in the game. Attracting new people is great, but we need to retain the loyalists to our industry. And I hope this is a small step to progressively rebuilding that trust with everybody out there. And we want to keep people loving this industry. So we encourage you to stay involved, and hopefully this is some way that we can keep you involved over the next 12, 24 months.
Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks, Paul.